welcome to the top 10 challenging landings from the scenery I've made, where we're actually going to number 10 today, although this isn't number 10. This video series is landings at airfields, and while this place probably is more challenging than the real number 10, it isn't actually an airfield anymore. It was, but it shut down, so technically it's not an airfield now, and it's just a field, so it doesn't count. But it is close to where we want to go, so we can land and then take off and go to the actual number 10. Come on. Okay, we're down. Not exactly pretty, was it? But yeah, we made it. That's the main thing. So in an earlier version of the South Fiordland scenery, I did include 6 disused airstrips like this, which didn't show up on a map. So it's like a little side quest to see how many you could find. And when I eventually told everybody the locations of them after a few months, they got changed, and they do now show up on the Explain map. And they act like real airstrips, so you can even start a flight here. But technically they are abandoned and no longer airfields, so I'm not going to include them in this series. Though if you're new to South Fiordland and didn't know that, they all have codes of NZDX with a number afterwards. And this one is NZDX Third Cove Takeaway. Just maybe the toughest one out of the 6, so at least it did make an appearance in the series, even if it's not being counted. But as well as being part of the South Fiordland scenery, it's also a good location as it's only a few minutes away from the real number 10, which is NZD13 Breaksea Sound. So we can have a short flight down there and see how we do at the landing. Now, for a number of different aircraft, Breaksea Sound isn't going to be hugely difficult. That's especially true for small bush-style aircraft which normal people would fly around here. However, South Fiordland was designed from day one to operate a Baron and have fun with an aircraft that really shouldn't be doing things like this. So it's kind of made the number 10 spot on the list because of a combination of the airstrip and also this plane. Now, when we get there, there's a dirt section of runway in the apron area and a runway extension piece that goes out over the water. Now, the join between that dirt land and the extension, it's not flat and smooth at all, and if you hit that join with any significant speed, it's going to ground the props and kill the engines. And as I said, there's probably quite a few planes which would feel the bump of the transition, but it wouldn't really make a lot of difference. In the Baron it matters as the prop ground clearance is not very good. So we've got 2 choices really, which is first you can try and land right at the threshold of the extension and get on the brakes as hard and quickly as you can. And you can then slow yourself down enough where by the time you reach the bump you pass over it slowly enough where you don't compress the suspension enough and smack the propellers into the floor. And the other option, which I think is more fun, so we'll do that today, is that we do need to use some of the extended runway, but if we can land part of the way down that extension, we can then start the braking but still have enough speed where we can, when we get to the bump where it joins the dirt, we can lift the front wheel back up into the air, and if we can do that then the bump can't compress the front wheel as it's not in contact with the ground. The main gear is more rigid and solid anyway, and the end result is that those expensive noisy things attached to each wing, they don't hit the ground, and we don't need to buy any new noisy and expensive things. Let's see what we can do. As you can probably tell with this extension and that dirt, you can actually see that the angle is not straight and flat. Go for at least halfway down this runway. Well, that's the plan anyway. Good, bit of braking, nose back up. Oh yeah. Okay then, the Challenging Landings video series. And I feel like I'm cheating you in some way here. That just went way too well. I hardly felt the bump or anything at all. Just park up and we'll have another look at that. Yeah, I think that's likely to be the best landing I've ever made at this place. So, Challenging Landings number 10, NZD13 Breaksea Sound, which may not be that challenging in some planes and might not look that hard in a barren either if you get lucky and manage to nail one of your best ever touchdowns while making a video. But I'm sure it will go wrong again next time.